Alright, there's an alternator out of a 2012 Honda Odyssey. It's a Gen 4. Just like the few videos that you see out there, it's kind of a pain to get to this point. So what I did, I took the that cover off with the manifold, and I jacked up the front end. Took the fairing out. Be replacing some of those little plastic clips for sure. That gave me access. You can see there's a new alternator in there. I removed a windshield wiper fluid reservoir. I bolted it. Same with my brake fluid. Drawing a blank, my coolant overflow. The bracket that goes with it down there. Took that off. This one, this pulley here, that's your tensioner. That was actually pretty easy, a lot easier than expected. I also removed these brackets that hold the radiator in place. That gave me just a couple inches of movement. I went ahead and took this off, lost very little coolant, and being able to flex that was really important, as was removing the 4 bolts on the AC compressor. So you can't see it very well now that I've got the alternator back in place, but what I ended up doing, and what I would recommend, is before you unbolt the AC compressor, you remove the 2 bolts, the wiring harness off the alternator. You just move it out of the way as best you can, and then with the radiator loose and the alternator mobile, even if just a little bit, it gives you better access to the 4 bolts that hold the AC compressor in place. So I undid the bolts on the AC compressor, all but the last couple threads. That gave me about 1 inch of movement, which you need in order for this guy to get out of the way. As soon as that AC compressor I had about 1 inch of movement, and was able to move this, the alternator just came out, right? Just out right this way. It was easy, actually, once that was done. As you can see, my brake fluid reservoir, I looped. I had to basically, it was sitting here, and I pulled it out and under here. I was a little bit wary of something going wrong doing that, but it worked out just fine. I did undo this as well, just to get a little flex. Not enough to cause any damage, but even a 1/2 inch of movement can be really helpful with the tight quarters that you see here. So now I've reattached my wiring harness on the alternator. Put the alternator bolts back in place. This bracket here, let's see if I can get that in focus. That bracket right there, I removed that completely also. I just put that back in place. So if you've seen the other videos, they talk about just removing these reservoirs, unbolting it, and bringing it out and up without manipulating the AC compressor. I was not able to do that. I gave that a good 1.5 hour try, and even if I was able to, if I would have been able to do it, getting it back in, I just feared it would have been such a nightmare that it cost me an extra hour and a half to get the car jacked up and figure out the best technique to get to the AC compressor bolts, which again, I would recommend removing the alternator as best you can in place to where it can even just jiggle within 1 inch or so. Then get underneath and above the vehicle, and there's 4 bolts. They go 2 on the top that go in towards from front to rear, and 2 in the bottom that go from front to rear. So that yeah, get the AC, get the alternator loose, loosen up the AC compressor after all your reservoirs are out of the way, and it'll come right out. So again, 2012 Honda Odyssey. putting it back in is pretty easy, it looks like. It went in really easy actually, and now I just need to undo all the things I did. One note, I didn't realize beforehand, but this wiring harness, you know, there's two attachments, one that bolts onto your alternator, and then the plug, and the boots are a little bit of a pain, no big deal, but there's a third wire that goes down to the AC compressor, and I found it was a lot easier to unclip that and just remove this whole wiring harness up over to here and out of the way while I was working. So then of course you just want to be cautious with when you're putting it back in, to make sure you refasten that connector to your AC compressor before you permanently install the new alternator, or you'll be uninstalling the alternator to redo that. So yeah, that's where I'm at so far. I'm yet to complete the job, but I think the hard part is behind us, knock on wood. Good luck.